What does the new head offensive coordinator in Arizona mean for Michael Wilson, Marvin Harrison, and that backfield? Who do you need to target in Jacksonville going forward in the 2026 FFPC Never Too Early Best Ball and Never Too Early Superflex Best Ball tournaments? And what do you do with the number 2 wide receiver, and who is the number 2 wide receiver for the Denver Broncos this upcoming season? We've got a great show for you tonight. The $25,000 grand prize winner in the 2025 FFPC Big Gorilla Early Rampage Tournament, Tommy Herrin, rejoins the show tonight for a baller episode on the best ways to win big prizes here in February of 2026. Ferrell Elliott is here. We've got a great show. My name is Eric Balkman. Stick around. Your high-stakes fantasy football hour starts now.
Can't stand the pressure. I've seen greater men than need a lesson.
Broadcast live and heard around the world, you are now watching the most entertaining hour of radio on the planet. Welcome to the High Stakes Fantasy Football Hour presented by MyFFPC.com with your hosts Eric Balkman and Ferrell Elliott. The High Stakes Fantasy Football Hour is your home for analysis from the best players in the world. And now, because no one else was available, here are Eric Balkman and Ferrell Elliott.
Solace in the scripture. Are we not all our father's sons? I became a man. Nobody ever told me what a man was.
Good evening, all you Ferrelliacs and Balkaholics. My name is Eric Balkman. You are watching live the latest episode of the High Stakes Fantasy Football Hour presented by MyFFPC.com. I want to thank Rob for that beautiful intro. I'm your slightly above average host, Eric Balkman. My co-host is the definitive commissioner of fantasy football, Mr. Ferrell Elliott. Coming up on tonight's show, we got a bevy of stuff to get to. We're going to talk about what it means for Mike McCarthy in Pittsburgh, as well as his new offensive coordinator they hired today. We're also going to talk about the interesting offensive coordinator situation in New York for the Jets and what it means for Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson, Mason Taylor, and the like there. We'll get into that. And then Tommy Herrin, the winner of the Early Rampage Tournament in the Big Gorilla in 2025, joins us to talk about how his squad won the Early Rampage Tournament and was this close to also winning that $1 million grand prize. We'll get into that, as well as what he's been doing in 2026 drafts this year, including, but not limited to, conversations on Trevian Henderson, Ben Sinnott, Terry McLaurin, and more. The FFPC Dynasty and Empire Orphans are open right now. We have plenty of them available. MyFFPC.com/dynasty, or just go to MyFFPC.com. Click on that drop-down link that says Dynasty Orphans. Normally those leagues are $77 all the way up to $5,000. And we have many of them discounted all the way down to $1. So you basically are getting a team for $1 for this year. And, managing that into better shape, maybe a championship in 2026, maybe a championship or several championships in 2027 and beyond. I will say this too, as I was conversing with Dave the Dizzle Gerzak, former co-host of the show, co-founder of the FFPC. The $77 orphans are getting kind of slim right now. They've been flying off the shelves. So if you are interested in taking your next step in the high-stakes dynasty fantasy football, check out those 77s that we got because people have been scooping them up left and right. Remember, you don't have to pay a deposit down on that because that's already been paid for. Maybe that's the reason that people are scooping those up, because they don't have to worry about paying a deposit for 2026. So MyFFPC.com is where to go for that, as well as the Never Too Early Best Ball and Never Too Early Superflex Best Ball tournaments. $40,000 and $10,000 grand prizes, respectively, in that. $125 to enter and $35 to enter, both in the Best Ball and then the Superflex Best Ball tournament. And then we have live drafts kicking off this Monday. MyFFPC.com is where to go for the Big Gorilla, a $1 million grand prize, $350 to enter. The 7 Bananas, live again this year. The Early Rampage Tournament, live again this year. We'll get into Tommy Herrin and how he won the Early Rampage Tournament last year and how he's plotting to do the same again this year. And then for the first time ever, the FFPC Baby Gorilla. Many of you who are watching this don't participate in FFPC high-stakes leagues. But if you want to do it, and for a brand new price point, you can enter for $125 and you can win $100,000 grand prize in the big. Somebody's going to win it this year. Somebody's going to win that Baby Gorilla. MyFFPC.com, MyFFPC.com, MyFFPC.com is where to go to register for that. Now, I do have one other league I want to promote because it's coming up this Sunday. There's only 2 spots available, but I don't want to be the only one on this call, on this stream right now to talk about it. I have to bring on my good buddy who I'll be hanging out with this weekend live in Western Kentucky for the Super Bowl and the Super Sunday Sweet 16 drafts. I think I'm signed up for 9 of them. There's plenty of people that are be drafting that. I know Steven Yurgalos has been in. Steve G, he's been in the show chats this week talking about how excited he is to draft teams down there. And he said he's given me way too much credit as far as how good of a drafter I am. I'm just there, man, to hang out and draft some teams and have some fun. Hopefully you will be too, and I will see you there. And I'm definitely going to see this guy there, the man, the myth, the legend, the commissioner of fantasy, definitive commissioner of fantasy football and the KFFSC, KFFSC.com. Ferrell Elliott, good Wednesday evening, sir.
Definitive commissioner. Thank you, brother. I love how you correct that. Earlier in the show, you described Dave Gizzle as the former Dave Gerzak, the Dizzle, as the former co-host of the show and one of the 2 founders of the FFPC. I'm sure that's how it's listed on his resume, by the way. Former co-host of the show. Buddy, we have, and for guys that are coming from out of town, like the famous fantasy soprano Stephen G, we do not want to tell them that it is in West Kentucky. It is smack dab center in the state, Louisville, Kentucky. Fly into the airport. Get over to Southern Indiana, Saturday and Sunday, drafting all day. Balky, you're going to participate in 8 drafts. The only 2.
Well, I thought it was 9. Am I only in 8? I thought it was
You're
9.
only in 8. You also have one online coming up. Now, that's what we've got available. We've got 6 online spots for February 17th. If you want to participate in the Sweet 16, the $300 entry and $10,000 grand prize, Super Sunday Sweet 16, please do. Additionally, we have 2 spots live remaining in what we call I Want Vegas, a very popular contest that includes a prize where you can play in the FFPC, and that's all on the website at KFFSC.com. And baby, I just can't wait. I've been flying all over this country, watching football, battling cold weather, driving miles, airports. I'm so happy to what's this our 5th year, Balky, and this is the first year that we're gonna draw a bad weather day. It's gonna be very cold in Kentucky this weekend. Historically, during this event, we've always been around 50 degrees. Bring your winter coat, Balky.
So we talked about this earlier. It is right now. I'm going to bring this up right now. Because I come from Northeast Wisconsin, and it is the great part of Northeast Wisconsin. We have a fantastic summer that lasts nearly 5 weeks. So
and I'm there for one of them.
Right? Yes, you are about 100%. And so I looked right now, Ferrell. We have 17 degrees in Northeast Wisconsin, in beautiful Appleton, Wisconsin right now. So then you said, oh, Balky, dress warm. It's going to be like 55. And I'm like, oh my God, I got to bring my.
That's what it usually is.
No. But how cold is it going to be? Right.
It's going to be very similar to what you're experiencing currently in Louisville. It is 19 degrees.
Okay. So for me, stepping off the plane, I can wear whatever I'm wearing in Appleton.
Yeah.
When I get in on Friday afternoon, I'll still be good. I'll still
come as you are, Balky.
Exactly.
Bring the beard.
As the great Kurt Cobain once said, yes, come as you are. Now, I want to get into the show tonight. If I could draft in the I Want Vegas draft, I have won that league long time ago, like I don't know, 10 years or so ago. I won that league 2 years in a row. It was awesome, a lot of fun. I would encourage everybody to snare one of those last 2 spots in that.
Two spots left. It's a live draft, but we're gonna allow virtual drafters. So if you're listening, it kicks off 3:15 right before the big game on Sunday, and the draft will be finished a good hour before the draft. And so if you want to play, just let us know. The last 2 spots are up for grabs.
So check that out. It is the perfect way to slip in to the big game, right? Like get a fantasy draft going. And then once that's over with, you get the Super Bowl to watch.
And Tommy Herrin's going to tell everybody who to draft. So they got.
So before we get to Tommy, who's coming up in just a couple of minutes here, Ferrell, I want to get into some stuff that happened over the course of the last week in the NFL. Tom Pelissero reported earlier this afternoon that the Arizona Cardinals have made a decision on their offensive coordinator. It's going to be former Jets OC Nathaniel Hackett. Now, if that sounds familiar, it's because Hackett was actually the quarterback's coach for the Miami Dolphins earlier in this offseason. Then he took a gig, which would be an upgrade from quarterback's coach to OC, and now Arizona will have him in position to be their OC. I would imagine that Mike LaFleur, who is the new head coach for the Cardinals, would still be calling plays there. But Nathaniel Hackett, if you remember, worked under Matt LaFleur for several seasons in Green Bay. He was also worked as a defensive analyst in 2025 this past year. So the LaFleurs and the Hacketts, they exchange a lot of Christmas cards and have over the year. So if you look at what Hackett's been able to do, his offenses never finished better than 24th in scoring across 2 seasons when he was with the Jets and 1 season when he was the Broncos head coach. This is probably going to be a Mike LaFleur situation, Ferrell. So this is a Mike LaFleur question as much as it is a Nathaniel Hackett question. Now that we know the HC and the OC in Phoenix, what do we do with guys like James Conner, Trey Benson, Trey McBride, Marvin Harrison Jr., Michael Wilson? Are these 2 hires for the Cardinals moving the needle for any of these Cardinals players, up or down, or I guess left or right if it's a needle? How do you feel about those players now that we know that it's going to be the LaFleur and Hackett show in Arizona?
Evaluate the players with what you've seen on the field. Leave the coaching out of it. The coaching has to prove itself for fantasy football purposes as to what they want to do. I think when head coaches get the second go around, they leave their first building, packing up everything, moving out of the office. They say, damn it, when I get there next time, it's going to be my way and it's going to be with my guys. And this is what you're seeing with some of the hires. And I don't believe they're organizational hires. I believe they are guys that are near and dear. Balky, like if I'm going to war in a football-related situation, Balky is my man. I'm going with Balky. Balky is my guy. So those are the same kind of decisions that are being made here. I know we can get it right this time.
So I will give people credit for being the for their second go around, right? And it's not like Hackett, this is a second go around as OC. Yeah, exactly. So he's had his opportunities before. I think this is more of a Mike LaFleur thing, and the fact that this is his first crack at the job, and he does have some weapons in Arizona. I wouldn't. It's too far for me to say I'm bullish on it, but I'm kind of intrigued to see how this goes, and I'm definitely not fading Harrison, Wilson, Benson, Connor, any of these guys when I'm drafting in Louisville on Sunday and Saturday this weekend. It'll be interesting to see where those guys go for sure. The Pittsburgh Steelers have also made an offensive coordinator hire. Ian Rappaport from NFL Network says that the Steelers are finalizing a deal to hire Vikings pass game coordinator Brian Angelicho.
That's good.
Is that what it is?
Yep.
I'll weigh in on this, or I'll let you weigh in on this. Brian Angelicho as their OC.
Yeah, there you got it.
Angelicho was the tight ends coach for the Packers under Mike McCarthy, okay? For 3 years he did this job. He's been in the NFL for about 20 years, and he's been a tight ends coach for almost his entire pro coaching career. That spans not 4, not 5, but 6 NFL teams. He coached college football at the University of Pittsburgh, so this is kind of a homecoming for him here, as it is for Mike McCarthy as well. This is the first time he's ever been an OC. Mike McCarthy is already calling plays. Ferrell, when you consider this guy's extensive tight end experience in the NFL, do we give a little uptick for Pat Freiermuth, for Darnell Washington, for Janu Smith, knowing that the influence that Angelicio is going to have on the Steelers tight ends under Mike McCarthy in Pittsburgh?
We've got to wait and see if the quarterback's coming back. What are they saying in Green Bay about it, Paul?
So there's not a whole lot being reported on it in Green Bay anymore.
Mm-hmm.
They're saying it's possible, but again, if you remember, Mike McCarthy and Aaron Rodgers, I mean, like my last memory of these guys was they did not like each other.
Okay.
Green Bay, like it was a bad situation, and it would not surprise me at all if Rodgers decides to retire rather than come back and play quarterback under Mike McCarthy. I know there's a lot of people connecting the dots. I don't know if those are the right dots to connect here.
And I'm going to ask Tommy about the passing game in that backfield and what Rodgers brought to it with those running backs, but that's for later in the show. So I would say that anytime, a tight end coach has a whole lot of things to do in the game. He works closely with the quarterbacks. He's part of an offensive line situation. He's been in if you look at his coaching history, you'll see that they're kind of good with all aspects of the offensive job. That's why they continue to stay in the league and get jobs like this. So I don't particularly think it means anything for the tight ends. However, Freiermuth was criminally underused in this offense, I thought, and that might have to do something about what that might have something to do with how much the running backs caught the ball.
Okay, so you bring this up, criminally underused. Does that mean for you that Smith and Washington are just also rans and they should not be valued in this offense? I thought they were miscast. I thought they were acquisitions. The Smith acquisition was the strangest of all. So you're not going to use Freiermuth. What are you going to do with Smith? I think that as it stands right now, we'll talk about Jalen Warren and the Steelers' backfield in a little bit with Tommy Herrin. But as it stands right now, unless Tommy can convince me otherwise, I'm kind of staying away from the Steelers' offense.
Ooh, breaking news.
Yeah, that's
out of
San
Diego, California.
Yeah.
So Tom Smith has just signed up for one of the KFFSC I Want Vegas leagues.
All right.
There's only one spot left. Maybe we can get the other one sold before we conclude the show.
So right now, the Super Sunday I Want Vegas, we have one team left. It drafts at 3:15 p.m. Eastern time on Sunday. And you say, Balky, I can't. I got Super Bowl plans. I can't make it. I can't fly to
you don't have to.
You don't have to.
You're a virtual guy.
You can be virtual and draft the team online right before you enjoy the Patriots and Seahawks pummeling each other in Super Bowl 60.
Nobody can do that. Nobody can do a virtual live draft like the great Jesse Bumstead. And that was a product of COVID 2020.
Right. Ferrell, the last thing I'll bring up before Tommy comes on.
We got to get Tommy out here.
The New York Jets have made an offensive coordinator hire, and it is Frank Reich.
Yes.
Who will forever be remembered in Eric Balkman's teenage psyche as the guy who was the quarterback for the Bills in leading that incredible comeback against Warren Moon's Houston Oilers to get to the Super Bowl that year. Whatever he has done since then, it's been a blur because that's what I always remember for him. But if you remember, Reich was Stanford's interim head coach last year. He finds himself now as the OC for the Jets. They have an empty backfield if Breece Hall decides to sign elsewhere. They have Garrett Wilson and not a whole lot of other wide receivers. They do have a young tight end in Mason Taylor. But as far as quarterbacks go, I don't know what they're doing at quarterback in 2026. The fact that Reich gets hired here, not an innovative young head coach, which I see so many NFL teams doing, and the fact that they do lack a lot of playmakers. I don't know why Breece Hall would come back to this offense, so I think he's gone as well. Ferrell, I just talked about how I'm down on the Steelers offense for 2026. I'm probably even more down about the Jets, despite the presence of guys, good pieces in Garrett Wilson and Mason Taylor.
Don't you believe they've hit rock bottom? Don't you believe there's nowhere to go but up? And those are very good ball players. And what is left, With Brees Hall, yeah, he's going to be attractive around the league, but there's always the devil you don't know.
Right.
They could make him. They could learn from their across Jersey comrades, the Giants, and not let their best running back go. It sure as hell didn't work for the Giants. So, the story is too early to be told, but yeah, with Reich, players love it. That's one thing, when he talks to players are enthused. They feel that he's going to bring the best out of him. So out of them and help them be a better ball player. He has that kind of mentality and that kind of relationship historically with the players. And he's seen it all and done it all, and he's got a bit of gravitas. And how tall is he?
You're talking about
Reich.
Frank, you want to know his height?
Yeah. Frank Reich walks in the room, people notice him. It's just what I'm saying. He's that kind of guy.
So Frank Reich is listed as 6 foot. I don't know if that's accurate or not.
Yeah. That's not accurate.
Okay.
He's like 6'3".
Last thing I want to bring up before Tommy Herrin comes up. Ferrell, Tyron Montgomery. Give me the scouting report on Tyron Montgomery from the Senior Bowl for all the Dynasty bros that are watching this tonight. A guy that was playing basketball a couple of years ago and then playing football in the backyard with his brother. He decides to play football, crushes it with John Carroll University, the pride of Ohio, and makes it to, I think his team made it to the Final Four of the D3 college football.
Yes, they did.
This year. Shout out to the University of Wisconsin River Falls, who won the whole thing this year, having not been in the whole thing, not been in the playoffs at all in like 30 years. They win the whole thing.
Got to get up there to River Falls and do some scouting.
River Falls, dude, that's all there is up there. They got a pretty good basketball team and a really good football team. But Tyron Montgomery, Ferrell, for people who are drafting and picking up dynasty orphans, this is a guy we got to start considering now because of how good he's been, and the athleticism really showed out in Mobile. You got to see it up close.
Yeah, and Tyron is a wonderful guy, a humble guy. We've yet to even begin to see the peaks that he might reach. And he's, the old proverbial one day at a time. When you come to the Senior Bowl, he first started at the American Bowl, got moved up to the Senior Bowl. When you come to those bowl games, you've got 3 real days of practice. 1 day is a walkthrough. The game, as far as scouting is concerned, doesn't really mean that much. So the practices tell it all. Mm-hmm. And you want, in those 3 days, to have one big play. Just one big play, Balky. You've accomplished something. Tyron at each stop had 4 of the 6 days where he had at least 3 big plays every day. And it's unprecedented. And he got a lot of attention, and now he moves into combine consideration. He'll have to leave his campus and go to probably University of Cincinnati for a pro day. So, he won't be in familiar territory for his pro day, and that's always a challenge. But, a lot will depend on how he runs, but I think he'll run well. And yes, there could be worse picks that you would make in your dynasty drafts, especially through all 7 rounds. If you have all 7 picks, you could be you take a flyer on Montgomery, and you're going to be highly pleased. We fell in love with Xavier Legette, who when he went through his last year in college, no one really particularly knew who he was unless you were deep into SEC football. This is not SEC football. This is John Carroll University. But Tyron Montgomery is a capable ball player and above a number of receivers that might be in this draft. So go right ahead.
I think in regards to dynasty fantasy football, you talk about Montgomery. He is probably not going to be a first-round pick in dynasty drafts with the FFPC this year.
Oh, no.
So then when you get to the second round and the third round, what are you drafting on? You're drafting on athleticism, and you're drafting on potential. And this guy, as high as a ceiling as anybody has. So we'll see what happens to Tyron Montgomery.
My 7th round draft pick in all dynasty drafts last year, Balky.
7th round draft pick, Kyle Manungai?
No, sir. Jacoby Cross,
JCM.
Crossky Merritt.
Yeah. Good
Bill
old
Merritt.
And we'll see. Like, he could be one of these guys. And I don't think we'll get into JCM tonight, but I'll just say this right now. There's a very realistic possibility that he survives the draft. He survives free agency, and he could be the lead running back for a Washington Commanders offense next year that's going to feature a healthy Jaden Daniels and a team that's desperate to get back to that NFC title game where they were at the end of 2024. Speaking of title games, this guy that we're bringing on tonight not only made it to the early Rampage title game. Well, I mean, not title game because it's a sprint, but he won the early Rampage tournament and the 25 grand that came with it. I say 25 grand because that was the grand prize that he won for that. But that same team was the third runner-up overall in the FFPC Big Gorilla. For all these people saying like, oh, you can't win serious cash when you're drafting this early. Well, this guy did, because he took his early Rampage team into a fourth place finish and another 20 grand. So he won 45 grand just with this one team. He's been on the show before. He's won a ton in the FFPC over the years, as well as the KFFSC. You connect with him on X at Tommy Island 69. He is doing a draft with the FFPC as he appears on this show tonight.
Oh, that's cool.
Please welcome back on to the High Stakes Fantasy Football Hour, Mr. Tommy Herrin. Tommy,
there he is.
Good evening, sir.
What?
How are you?
I'm great. How are you, gentlemen? Gentlemen.
We're doing excellent. Excited to talk to you. We just talked about Tom Smith signing up for that KFFSC I Want Vegas team that's drafting on Super Bowl Sunday in the afternoon. You just signed up for that league as well.
Yeah, I might have gotten a little tug, and I'm in. I'm certainly in, and I've got a partner coming in that I'm bringing in, and may not be able to bring him into Kentucky this year, but I'll bring it. He's got to talk to the wife, but maybe next year he'll come. But he's going to join us, and he's doing a few of these FFPCs with me already. So
I always tell players that are trying to get away home is let me talk to the missus. I'll be glad to talk to all the wives.
Yeah, I'm going to bring some of the winnings that I've had at FFPC to Kentucky, because I've had I haven't had the best of luck, but I've had the best of times.
Wow.
And the best of friends, and I will continue on, and I'll bring more folks in. So yes, I'm excited to be here, and good to see you both. I'm just glad I can talk about some weather with you guys. We got a foot of snow here and outside of Charlotte this last weekend. Of course, it's all melted now because that's
right.
what we get, which is beautiful. So I'm good.
Tommy, my aunt and uncle, they have lived in just outside Greenville, South Carolina for 20 or 30 years. And my aunt grew up in Northeast Wisconsin. And she's like, there's like one snow plow in all of Greenville, South Carolina. And if you get a half inch of snow there, everything shuts down. Nobody knows how to drive. That's right. He was sending pictures to me this week. She's like, look, we're snowed in for a week. And I'm like, a week? Like this is like a normal Monday for us, where we just shovel everything off and we go off. So, but yeah, the winter storm is hitting us very differently in all parts of the country this year. Steve Urgalos, Steve G, Fantasy Sopranos, Tommy. He says he's in that draft that you're doing right now with FFP.
I met his. Yes, I met his representatives last year. Some of the best gentlemen. Yeah, they were awesome. So why don't I do this? Well, I'm going to wait. And make a pick, because we're going to talk about somebody in a bit. Because
perfect.
Yes, that person might be someone I picked. So the pick.
What round are you in, Tommy?
What are we in? We're at the 5-6 turn, and I'm at 12. Which, by the way, not saying any, not this means anything, but the early Rampage World Heavyweight Championship of the World team from last year drafted in the 12th spot. So, and the team that finished third in the Big Gorilla, or the whatever it's called before that, previous year, drafted in the 12th spot.
Dude, there's something to be said for this right now. I have to ask you, Tommy. Winning the early Rampage tournament last year, and obviously we know that the early Rampage is only going to apply to the first 200 leagues that fill And obviously it's a reward to people who want to draft early. When you consider, because you draft early, you draft in the middle, you draft late, you draft all the time.
That's right.
How much do you change your philosophy and how you approach these drafts when you're talking about drafting this early in the season? Because there's a lot of nuance to it. Running back, backfields, quarterback situations, coaching situations, the fact that so many of these offenses can change on day 1 or day 2 of the NFL draft. There's a lot of stuff that's in motion. And yet you seem to be dialed into it, and you handled it well last year. How do you change your approach drafting in February, January, and March?
Well, some of it's filling it out. Some of it's playing the if you think about it, like the momentum from the back part of the year. If you think about it, there's a lot of players that get momentum, like call it the last 6 weeks of the year, carries on to the next year. And then some of it's speculation on thinking about, it's not just about the draft, it's about free agency, because we've got free agency coming up in March. So there's a lot of speculation. We'll talk about some of those, here in a bit. But yeah, I mean, it evolves. And that's one of the things I've learned in drafting and high stakes and drafting FFPC is letting the drafts evolve. I think that's one reason why, and by the way, Ferrell, you'll love this, because I'm going to play a lot more of the online Kentucky tournaments.
Yes, sure.
Because what I've learned is I don't do as well in there is because I focus everything in one weekend.
Yeah.
And I'm drafting in one mindset. So I think it does evolve, and I think it's important. So, the team I drafted here, it was, it's funny. It was my 9th team that I drafted, because I think my first team, and Balky, I think I was on the RotoViz show with you earlier this year. I had a team that was in 5th. That wasn't the same team. That was the second team that I drafted, and it was in that top 5 going in. This team was 250 points behind that going into the final dance. I advanced, and this one was drafted on March 14th, and you try to speculate, but you also can't just say, I'm going to draft every rookie. You just have to balance it out.
Well, who were some of the guys that you had last year that obviously you draft them and you watched their ADPs climb throughout the year? They had to for you to win this thing. Who were some of the guys that you were most proud of in the draft? Take us down memory lane.
All right. So it's funny. There really wasn't anybody that I reflected back on this. There was a few. It was more of and one of my focuses this year was on draft construct. And thinking about it, which means that when I drafted, I adjusted in the draft. So it was like you had to adjust. You can't just go and commit. Everybody said you have to commit to one strategy, but it is about building the right construct. But my big winner, I would say, was Chase Brown as far as value, because I got him at the 4-1. I went James Cook 312, Chase Brown 4-1. So if you think about that, those two guys were juggernauts. James Cook, obviously, for what he did all year, and then Chase Brown down that stretch was phenomenal. But also, I mean, my first 2 picks, it's not like I did Amon-Ra St. Brown and Nico Collins at the 12 at the 1-2 turn, and that worked out. The turn worked out well. I did Olave, Devontae Smith at the 5-6 turn. They turned out well. I got Herbie at the 11-12. I got Trev on waivers. So Trevor Lawrence.
Trevion Henderson?
No, Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, so there wasn't really there wasn't really like a rookie or anybody, which is weird, because last year the team that I did well, like I had guys that jumped, so it was really Chase Brown. But I, you just hit on some players and you hit on them the right way. I mean, I had Dallas Goedert. It was a touchdown monster. And I mean, this team really evolved throughout the whole year, which is why it wasn't one of the leading teams going into the sprint. Like it was 250 points behind my best team going into the final sprint. So
there was no player, Tommy Island. There was no player that I got his season and I was on the wrong side of the season as far as I was with Goddard, and I just didn't trust Goddard physically. And boy, I learned my lesson as
but to your point, Ferrell, like there's a lot of touchdown inflation with Goddard.
Yeah.
It's not like
I'll take touchdowns, Balky. I like getting those jackpots. I like them.
I'm just saying, as far as like, beat down on him, it's not like he had these like 9 for 90 games. Like it was a lot of
touchdowns. He took away Hurts touchdowns from the tush push. All those early little, like it was all that inside the 5. He was the red zone guy. He took him away from Barkley.
I will say this: I was right on Ferguson, and I was able to get Ferguson later, so it wasn't as painful. When you're playing in the FFPC and you start getting the tight end position wrong, you don't want to get too many of them wrong, Tommy.
No.
This team was a surprise when it came. I'll be honest. I thought Team 2, the team I had, was a juggernaut team, and I had JSN. I hit all those things we were talking about. I hit the jackpot on every one of those guys, except they fell off in the sprint. So,
and that happens, right? I mean, like we've seen teams just dominate the regular season, and then when it's all on the line, when the cash is being paid out, they fall flat. And for as many teams we've seen fall flat, we've seen many teams ascend. Like this team that not only won the early Rampage, but took 4th place overall in the FFPC Big Gorilla. And I have to ask you, Tommy, you think about what Week 17 is like for those teams, for those players that have teams that are near the top when you're watching your team fluctuate, go up, go down. What was the sweat like in Week 17, knowing that this team ended up winning the early Rampage, but it wasn't all that far off from winning $1 million overall in the Big Gorilla? Everybody talks about, well, you got to draft your teams late. You drafted this team March 14th, and it came this close to winning the whole thing.
Yeah, and look, I went through this last year too. Remember, I finished 3rd last year, and I'm not saying that too much. I'm just telling you from a scenario perspective. The previous year, I had a team that was like 30th going into the Week 17, and I was like, I was going to be happy with, hey, get the top 25, and I made a run. The team made a run. This team was the opposite. I was 4th going into the last week, 4th or 5th, and I had put up 248 Week 1, 196 Week 2. So this team jumped, and I had the worst week I'd had of the entire thing. But I will tell you that I would say the whole week was like that across the board. Week 1 of the fantasy sprint was by far one of the biggest weeks we've ever seen. I mean, there was some of the highest scores, and and I held on. I was going into. So I had a couple of decisions. Here's the biggest scenario I had. My flex 2, I was looking at Aaron Jones, Jalen Warren, Devonta Smith, and Aaron Jones was looking at, okay, he's coming back from injury. Jordan Mason's out, but okay, he's playing Detroit, and I was like, all right, he's injured, but I had Jalen Warren, who was playing Cleveland. DK Metcalf out, coming off the 29-point game. Devonta Smith, I was pretty much out on because he had the weather game. Yeah. So I was pretty good on that. But I couldn't decide, do I play Aaron Jones or play Jalen Warren? Aaron Jones was playing on Thursday. So I said, all right, I'm back and forth, had him in. I kicked it to the curb and said I'm going to make the decision for the weekend. So I didn't play Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones scores a touchdown. Didn't have a good game, but he put up 15 points. That cost me 3rd place, okay? At the end of the day, but I'm not going to beat. But last year I hit every single decision right, but I can't beat myself up for it because I made other good decisions. Yes. Because AJ Barner, I played him over Dallas Goedert. He put up 2 extra points over Dallas Goedert.
That took some guts.
And then here's the kicker, and I'll sum it up with this. I thought I was going to end up like 7th, 8th, or whatever. I had the Rams defense, Jared Verse, block punt to the house.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Touchdown, winning.
That was a 4th quarter play too, right? It was an end of game play.
It wasn't the end of the game, but it was It was what put it over the top.
Gotcha.
It was like the previous year when I had Jahmyr Gibbs take it to the house on a 41-yard touchdown run that put me into third place. No, it was so similar but so different, and it was awesome. So to answer it, a lot of emotions, but I didn't have high expectations, and they exceeded my expectations.
Love it when that happens. So let's see.
Because Puka did not blow up like everybody expected.
It's a great. Well, he sure didn't. It's a great thing looking in the back. This weekend in Kentucky, we start our 2026 draft. Let's look forward. You talked about picking up Trev. So obviously you love this player since you're on a first name, nickname basis with him. So Trevor Lawrence, there's a player that I don't think you're going to get on the waiver wire in
That's right.
2026. You're going to have to go ahead and draft him. Are you going to buy back into the Trevor Lawrence success, especially based on what we saw at the end of the season?
Yeah, I'll buy him right now. He's going around. I mean, I'm not going to prioritize him. He's going around QB, 10, 11, 12, 13. He's going around Dak Prescott, Patrick Mahomes, and those guys in that range. And, obviously you're getting a discount on Mahomes, and you always get a discount on Dak Prescott. But he's going in that range. What I like about him, I'm not going to completely fall for the banana in the tailpipe, because that's you see that, but it's he's got the rushing, which is where he really excelled this year. Because if you remember early in the year, people were still discounting him, and he had I remember the game, and it was like all of a sudden they're just bashing him. Then the next thing you know, fourth quarter they win the game, and they're like, oh, he's a superstar. Rushing, he's got weapons. He's got more weapons than he's ever had when they added Jack Myers, and he's got everybody back, and he's got Liam Cohen, and he's got that. I mean, so I like that success. So I won't prioritize him, but I'll draft him. That's in that good range of quarterbacks right now.
Well, guys, that's one of the most interesting things that I'm looking forward to witnessing this weekend, because I think the quarterback board is the biggest change for 2026 over what we had in 2025. I think that's going to be the biggest. Balky, are you there with me?
Yeah, I can tell you this right now, Ferrell. As far as quarterbacks go in the FFPC Never Too Early Best Ball Tournament, which I'm going to cite data from Fantasy Mojo, Darren Armani at
I love that guy.
FantasyMojo.com, the godfather of the Pro Search Joes. Anytime we cite ADP, it's all to FantasyMojo.com. Get a subscription there if you're playing in the FFPC. No surprises at the top. Allen, May, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, Jaden Daniels, Jalen Hurts. But then if we get to after the fifth round on, we see Jackson Dart at that 6-7 turn. Caleb Williams in the mid-7th. Justin Herbert in the mid-7th, and then Trevor Lawrence, who we were just talking about with you, Tommy. Trevor Lawrence, quarterback 10 at the 7-12, right before Patrick Mahomes, Dak Prescott, and Brock Purdy. Those are the top 13 quarterbacks there. And then if you want to get a second quarterback after that, you can wait until the 9th round. Goff, Love, Stafford, Nix, Shuck, believe it or not, Baker Mayfield, all in that territory. So, yeah, there's been a lot of changes in how people are attacking the quarterback position for 2026.
That feels right, though. You know what I'm saying? It kind of feels right.
Yeah, no, I don't really have any quarrels with it at all. It totally makes sense. What I would have a quarrel with, Tommy, and maybe you would as well, Terry McLaurin has fallen to wide receiver 26. So he's being drafted as a third wide receiver in the FFPC Never Too Early Best Ball Tournament. He's going at the 604. This is right after Egbuka and Brian Thomas, and it's right before the rookie Carnell Tate, or the soon-to-be rookie Carnell Tate, Cortland Sutton, and Mike Evans. Do you think that people are letting this guy slip too far based on a bad year, catching passes from Marcus Mariota for the majority of the year, not Jaden Daniels, not to mention his own hamstring injury that kind of hampered him early on in the season, came back to bite him midway through the season as well. I don't know, man. I know McLaurin's not over the hill yet, but to me, this represents a good buy in the early 6th round, because I think he's going to pay off that and more in 2026.
I'm gonna one up you. I'm gonna take him in the 5th round. Okay.
Oh.
So I'm gonna take him at the 5-12, and ahead of Brian Thomas Jr. because I'm on the clock right now.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Is this
so
a never too early tournament, Tommy?
this is the Big Gorilla.
Oh, Big Gorilla. Okay.
Big Gorilla.
Hold on. Why am I hearing a basketball highlight right now? Is this me or is this somebody else?
Oh, I don't
Tommy's got a TV on behind him, but maybe I think he's got it on mute.
No, I just muted Tommy just to make sure. It is Tommy. Tommy's got it going. Tommy's got a lot of stuff going on right now.
How do I have volume? I don't have any. I'll just turn the TVs off.
Okay.
Yeah.
I still hear it. I still hear it. Is it on your? Do you have a tab open on your internet browser right now? No, I don't hear it. Now
Tommy likes to stay informed, Balky. And he is from North Carolina. They have basketball demons filling up the
It
space.
was not my TVs. It was definitely not my TVs.
Okay, all right.
You better give it back to whoever it belongs to. You hanging it over there on your wall.
Tommy, in the Big Gorilla draft that you're in right now, are you on the clock in this slow draft?
Yeah, and I'm going to pick right now.
Okay.
I'm going to pick McLaurin at the 512.
512, Terry McLaurin. Is this your third wide receiver, second wide receiver on this team?
Second wide receiver, because we did Trey McBride at the 112.
Okay.
He fell to 112. And I'll tell you this, and I'm going to take BTJ. It was between BTJ and Roma Dunze, so we're going to go BTJ.
Now, why Thomas over Odunze there?
Just right now, that's where we went. We're back and forth. That was close. So
Yeah.
you might talk me into it. I haven't made the pick yet. So no, I'm going BTJ. Yeah, that's where we're going. This is going to be the first of many. I mean, I'm going to probably I have to invest some of the winnings this year. So I'm going to have even more teams than this year. So
You might play some of those baby gorillas too.
we've got Malik Neighbors, so we're going to go back to year one. I love having BTJ and Malik Neighbors together. So it didn't work last year, but it worked year one, 2 years ago. So we're going back to that. So
Ironically, Tommy, in one of my Kentucky dynasty teams that I have, I drafted both Neighbors, and I had 2 first-round picks, and I drafted Neighbors and Thomas in 2024, won the whole league. And then this year in 2025, didn't make the playoffs, ended up winning the consolation bracket, didn't even make the playoffs with Kyle Pitts, which was super frustrating. But I'm loaded for bear, excited to get back on there with Thomas and Neighbors in 2026. Sure. We've been talking wideouts, Ferrell. Let's talk about a backfield here.
Let's talk about a backfield. Can you guys remember to last summer when we had the pros versus Joes? And Balky, I don't think, and Tommy, I was curious where you were on this player, but we couldn't get much started for Gainwell at Pittsburgh. Am I remembering it correctly? Is that the way it was? And I would bring up Gainwell and get regularly shouted down by everyone, that was coming in. And Gainwell, as I recall, was a 13-14 rounder. Is that, Balky, is that what you have?
I'm looking it up right now.
Here's, looking at the season that they had, we didn't know what the Rodgers situation was going to look like, and I expected more out of the tight end. But the thing that I loved about Gainwell is I thought he would catch a lot of passes. He caught 73 passes. That was 4th in the league for catching amongst the running backs. He doubled up. You guys want to listen to some of the names that he doubled up? It was 73, twice as much as Barkley, Jacobs, Etienne, Kyron Williams, and Javonte Williams. Everybody talked about how many passes Swift was going to catch. He doubled up Swift. It was just a fascinating year. Now, the other running back rushes for 900 yards. He catches 40 balls. Neither of them scored a lot of touchdowns because Pittsburgh wasn't doing that. Tommy Island, what do you think about these guys for this upcoming season there in Pittsburgh with what we know about them now? Are you in business with both of them? Do you think Gainwell repeats that reception prowess? What do you think?
So, Tommy, before you answer this, I'm just going to tell everybody this. In the FFPC main event last year, at the time we cut off drafts, Kenneth Gainwell was running back 81 in the 19th round. If we look at his never too early price this year, running back 44, he has moved up to the 12th round, and we don't officially know where he's going to be playing in 2026. So the backfield with Pittsburgh, as it stands right now, Jalen Warren, Caleb Johnson, maybe somebody else that they add there. But I think that to Ferrell's point here, Tommy, this is a weird kind of situation that you want to be able to get right in drafts right now.
Yeah, here's what I think about it. I don't think you have to nail it. I think Jalen Warren's a good safe pick. Now, your risk is he worth a 6th-round pick? If Gainwell gets a big payday, because he could.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of teams that need running back. There's a lot of teams that will go after. If he gets a big payday, then Warren's the 1A. At the end of the day, this offense can't run like it did this past year, because what Gainwell got, he was Rodgers' number 1. It should have been DK Metcalf. It was Kenneth Gainwell. I mean, it was frustrating for DK Metcalf owners, especially when you saw him throw to DK Metcalf and saw how it worked. So I think Warren's a good pick because and then I think Gainwell at 12 is a good pick. Because either way, he's going to work in. If he stays there, he gets re-signed, he's going to get volume. So I don't think you're going to kill yourself. And I think Caleb Johnson is all dependent on Gainwell. If Gainwell doesn't leave, then Caleb he's the moot point. He's special teams at best, and but we'll see. He's going to have to earn his way in. So he's a speculative best ball guy.
So just real quick, let me interrupt you there just for a real quick second on Caleb Johnson, Tommy. Running back 57, 16th round. At this point where we don't know what's happening with Gainwell, is that a good investment for FFPC owners?
Yeah. Because here's what I'll tell you. I think running back is the biggest crapshoot. You talked about quarterback. Running back is the biggest crapshoot this year that I've seen. There's 7 running backs that I believe in. And it's basically that I wrote these down going in. It's Bijan, Gibbs, Achane, CMC, JT, Cook, Chase Brown. And then you're talking about Genty and Hampton are RB1s. Okay, let's assume they're going to be RB. They're RB1s. And then you've got the guys like Jacobs and all these other guys. I have no confidence in the rest of that tail. Like RB2 and RB3 is up in the air, especially going through free agency. And there's a lot of guys. I mean, you're talking about Jeremiah Love is an RB1 right now.
He is 100%.
And that feels like Genty to me right now, right? I mean, that feels like, especially early, and I love Jeremiah Love. I think he's a beast and everything. But like, this is early. Like, for me, I'm not, and I know we'll get into some of that later. I'm not drafting Jeremiah Love right now in the 2nd round, because what's the best thing? You're drafting him at his ceiling right now. Is he going to be the number 1 running back? So that's why I think running back, you can take a lot of chances this year.
We don't know the landing spot for Love either, right? I mean, he could land in a very favorable situation. He might not land in a very favorable situation as well. Right. To your point, Tommy, he is going neck and neck with Amari and Hampton right now. Love is also being drafted ahead of Chase Brown, Saquon, Bucky Irving, Josh Jacobs, Breece Hall, Derrick Henry, all these proven guys. Now, maybe it works out. Maybe if you draft Love there, you're crushing it. But at the same time, we've seen these other guys do it. Chase Brown's talking extension with the Cincinnati Bengals. I mean, I really like that. I think Barkley is free of Kevin Patullo this year. There is something to be said for Barkley as well. So, yeah, I mean, it's exciting to draft Jeremiah Love. But, it's also like this goes back to – you talk about NBA teams, NFL teams, Major League Baseball teams. There's certain teams that always seem to win the offseason every year. Yeah. I think you can win the offseason by drafting a guy like Jeremiah Love, but at the end of the year, it may not work out as good as it would had you draft Brown or Barkley or Henry or one of these other guys. Something to be said for that, for sure. I want to move on past running backs. Let's talk tight ends. Zach Ertz had a potentially career-ending knee injury that we saw last year. He is not, at least all the reports I've said or read, not said. I'm not a reporter, but all the reports that I've read certainly lead me to believe he is not going to be back in Washington, which leaves one Ben Sinnott, who could take a step forward there. We have seen year after year, Tommy, about these tight ends that are being drafted super late in the FFPC, and then they fight their way up into a top 15 or top 12 tight end finish. Is Sinnott going to be one of those tight ends this year?
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I think it's right now he's going in the 18th, 19th round. He's a free spot. I think he's worth a pick. I'll be honest. Like last year, and I know they didn't go to, where did Sinnott go? Like Arizona, and I compared him the way he was drafted when he came out to, if you remember, Trey McBride when he came out his rookie year, he didn't pan out, but he was like the top tight end coming out, and Sinnott was kind of like that when he one of the, and Trey McBride played, and it's funny, he played with Zach Ertz, and when Ertz left, Trey McBride stepped up, and I thought, anyway, they were together last year when Ertz went out. I thought, is this Sinnott's chance? Is he going to be the poor man's Trey McBride? He wasn't, but I think he's definitely worth a speculative pick. I think what you have to wait on is to see if they do anything in free agency, if they do anything in the draft. But I think today I'll draft him, especially when you're getting him. Am I wrong?
Especially at that spot.
It's the 19th round. It's a free spot, free pick.
Hey,
tight end 42 right now, Sinnott, 19th round, behind Evan Engram, Mike Gesicki, and something called Oscar Delp. This is I don't know. Ferrell might know him better.
And Theo Johnson.
No, he's definitely behind Theo Johnson. Noah Gray, Darren Waller, Jack Endries, all behind Ben Sinnott. Right.
Mark Bavaro. And Mark
Bavaro. Yes, absolutely. Yes, Pete Metzelar's also going behind one Ben Sinnott right now.
Hey, Derry Greer's throwing down from the West Coast. He's talking about Tommy. Derek and Tommy both showed up for their first year in KFFSC. One representing the East Coast, one representing the West Coast. It was a pleasure to have those guys in the building the rookie year. Listen, you gave us a list of running backs. Travion Henderson wasn't on it. If you made a number 2 list, is Travion Henderson going to make that list?
Look, where I'm at right now, he's going. It's funny. I looked at this earlier. Where he's going right now, like that 4-2 spot. That's exactly where he went, and the team that I drafted, the early Rampage team, same spot he went in last time. So I have more confidence that he'll perform this year better than last year. I think if you look, I think Ramondre Stevenson's rising up. The talent's going to eventually rise. It's Ramondre's still a value.
Yeah.
So I'm still I'm lukewarm on it. I'm not out on Travion. His talent is so immense. I mean, you saw the games, you saw the explosiveness. What you're not going to get right now is Jahmyr Gibbs. What everybody hopes for is Jahmyr Gibbs. I don't know if he'll ever be Jahmyr Gibbs. No, but he's got that kind of talent. So I don't know if they'll be disappointed. I think eventually talent out will win out, but so I'm kind of to better answer it. I'm lukewarm. I don't have a firm answer on it. I don't want to commit either way. So if that helps, I think that's saying maybe.
Since the show is on a Wednesday night in February, we're going to let you wiggle off the hook on that one. Lucky, when the hell have you heard Tommy? When the hell? That could be an imposter. That may not even be Tommy Herrin.
No hand on the Bible on this. Look,
he's swearing in. He's swearing in about something. I don't know. It may not be Tommy Herrin. I'm taking a screenshot.
All I do is spit back, baby.
So we have to get to. I'm going to skip emails tonight, Ferrell. I want to get to your final question here for Tommy.
Oh yeah, Tommy. This is always the most controversial question and Balky lets me ask it. He's going to ask a nosy question before we get off the air, but I'm going to ask the controversial question. You, being one of the most positive gentlemen I have ever met, have now must turn negative and tell us who is the player that you will not touch in the FFPC, KFFSC, and then will you tell us a player that you must have? Could be a top pick, could be a middle pick, could be a late pick. Doesn't matter when. It's a must-have whenever you can get him. Go.
All right. Not touching Joshua J. Jacobs. Done. Bye-bye. Drive home safe.
Is that an age thing for you, Tommy? Like, what's the reasoning from staying away from Jacobs?
It's just like everything I've seen. And by the way, the ball, look, that's nothing against Green Bay. I know you probably had some frustration. Look, he's had, look, his all he got last year was touchdowns. I mean, that's what he's going to come down to. Is he's going to be a touchdown guy. Just not touching him. I feel like it's a little regression and everything else. I don't know if I have a must-have yet, but I'm going to call out a few names here that I like, especially where the values are. I like Jaden Higgins a lot. Where he's going. I like Saquon Barkley. I mean, you said that earlier, Balky. I should have included him in my top running backs because I would move him up to there because he's a great value at the end of that second round.
Yep.
He wraps around some. And then I like Rootin' Tootin' Putin. I like Tootin', especially if ETN goes somewhere, and especially right now, if ETN goes somewhere. I like Rico Suave because if he leaves Carolina. And then I like Chuba because if Rico leaves Carolina, Chuba's back healthy again. So those are my guys.
It's a good answer to that question, don't you think, Balky?
Yeah, I do, and I want to weigh in on this real quick. In regards to the Jacksonville backfield situation, if you take Tootin as running back 31 right now at the 902, let's say ETN re-signs and he stays on as Jacksonville's lead back, well, you have the injury away type guy with Tootin there that does a lot of the same things that ETN does and would probably ostensibly be used in the same way that ETN was if ETN were to go down. So I do like that call. The Barkley call, I think is interesting, guys, because if you end up having an early, round pick in the first round, let's say you have the 103 or the 104, you could get a guy like Chase Brown. You get a guy like Jamar Chase or Puka Nacua early, right? And then when it comes back to you could take Saquon Barkley at the end of the second round and still end up with Bucky Irving, Chris Olave, perhaps George Pickens, Tedero McMillan. Like that is a formidable start there where you can get two wide receivers within the top, 25 picks and still get a guy like Saquon Barkley to pair with them. So I'm a fan of that as well this year, Tommy, and we'll see what happens this weekend in Kentucky, whether I can follow through on that or not. But it's going to be a lot of fun. Final question for you tonight. This early Rampage team got you a $25,000 grand prize because you drafted it so early, but it also finished 4th overall in the FFPC Big Gorilla competition, which was an additional 20 grand. This single team earned you $45,000. I know you talked about investing in the KFFSC this year. Are you investing in anything else, maybe non-fantasy football-wise, with this big windfall from this one team in the Big Gorilla?
Ferrell knows this answer. Yeah. So by the way, I won, and I had other winnings. So as you know, I won 13 league titles this year. So I had a good bang. So more so to say, everything's ready for next year. I was able to take some out, and it's going towards which should be I'm going to close hopefully end of this month, early March, on the new house that I'm building, which will have, you see a few TVs back there, but you got Tommy Island coming. I'm going to have an 85-inch, 250s on each side, so 5 TVs in the living room. It's all been, everything's ready. Tommy Island is ready to go. And I have to show this because this is what my sister and her family got me for Christmas this year. It was one of the best. This is going in my bar, which is
nice.
This Tommy Island established.
Proudly serving whatever you bring. I love it.
So
You know,
guess
I
what?
bet, Balky, that you can get a mighty fine old fashioned down there at Tommy Island. I took a little drive down to Duke University to see a ball player this year from Kentucky in October. The leaves were turning, the sun was out. I think my destination is not going to be to see the Blue Devils, but it's going to be to see Tommy Island this year.
Yeah.
watch a little
And
football.
Donkey's coming down. We're gonna look. If I have to fly your ass down, you're coming down.
There you go.
You know, one of my best friends, and I was the best man at his wedding. He lives just outside Charlotte, so it could be two birds with one stone. Tommy, if I pop down there and hang out, we'll hang out in Tommy Island's bar, and I will bring good stuff. I will go around the North Carolina is a massive, massive stronghold for some of the best craft beers in the country. So we will bring craft beer. We will get some good bourbon for old fashions, and we will have a time there for sure.
You know, I think I'm going to get one of the girls to write a song about Tommy Island. I think
I
that's
love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Ferrell,
Let's meet the girl.
we got a lot of we're mossy tonight with a lot of great ideas that are coming up.
Love it.
Tommy, I wish you nothing but the best of luck, not only in the Big Gorilla and the early Rampage for the Big Gorilla, as well as the Never Too Early teams that I know you entered in so far, and the the KFFSC I Want Vegas team, our league that you'll be drafting in, and hopefully that will prompt you by winning that league to hang out with us in 2027.
Let me add one thing on that. Yeah, let me add one thing on that, because the team name I'm going to do, and I want to give this shout out on this show, is the team name I got is This Is for Antley. And I don't want to do a bad note. So by the way, I did talk to Dan earlier, so I know you guys, he's going to talk to you. We need to do it. You guys this weekend, do a little moment of silence for my buddy Jeff, one of my very best friends who passed this year, who it's first year last year. So my team name for this one is for Antley. And he's the one who really got me started in fantasy in FFPC. And I know, Balky, you've known him. So, hey, I want to say this is a celebration. I get to go spend some time with his family in Albuquerque in a couple of weeks. So I just wanted to end on that on a good note, not a down note to anybody. Good note, because that's what he wants. He is a fantasy football legend, and I want to end on that note. So
I will say, as far as anybody watching this that is not familiar with Jeff, there was a couple of years ago where Jeff was basically the leader. He might have, and Tommy, you can correct me if I'm wrong on this. Did he win the Football Guys regular season title, Football Guys Players Championship regular season? Because I know he was leading.
He was leading, but he was very close. But he did win. He won another one. He won the FFWC or whatever. But he was.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
he was leading twice. He was leading twice in the FFPC. And finished very strong and really got me in. And we were competitive, and it was just a great guy. And,
well, he came in for his first year live in Kentucky, and he made friends from table to table. Everybody enjoyed him being there, and you know, you can understand how you two were running buddies. So, guys, he's going to be terribly missed and often remembered.
I remember him talking with him in Las Vegas over the years. And then he came to Kentucky with like Tommy. I think you and I shared a conversation with Jeff for like 10 or 15 minutes, like at a break in one of the drafts. And then I meant to like, well, I'll catch up with you later, you know, because we had to go. And he was always talking to somebody new, right? And it was all over the place. Everybody wanted to talk to him. He was such a great guy. And I'm glad to hear that at least one of your teams makes his memory live on this year, because his memory deserves to be live on. Sigmund Bloom said this from Football Guys. I said this at my brother's funeral a couple years ago. We all die twice, right? We die once we pass away, when our heart stops beating, and then we die when the last time our name is uttered. And one of the great things about Jeff Antley is his name is in no danger of being uttered for the last time, anytime in the near future. So yeah, kudos to you, my friend. Great to hear that you'll be playing for him this year, because he was gone too soon. Hell of a guy for sure.
Appreciate you guys so much. God bless. And I'll see y'all soon. Get ready for
yes.
ready for a great draft coming ahead on February 17th. Good. I think that's great. So.
It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a lot of fun. Tommy Herrin, the 2025 FFPC Big Gorilla Early Rampage Grand Prize winner, as well as the third runner-up in the Big Gorilla. Tom, thanks so much for hanging out with us tonight. Enjoy the Tommy Island Bar, which I'm sure an old-fashioned is going to be poured after the show tonight to come down from this great live experience. I will talk with you again very, very soon. Obviously in Louisville coming up in August, and I'm sure I'll see you in Vegas too.
Take care, guys. Appreciate you very much.
You got it. That is Tommy Island. Tommy Herrin, ladies and gentlemen, the early Rampage winner in the Big Gorilla, the inaugural Big Gorilla early Rampage winner, Tommy Herrin, joining us tonight. $45,000 for one fantasy football team, Ferrell. That's a good ROI for sure.
Yeah, it is. I think anybody can agree with that.
Well, listen, man, this is going to be, we're doing the show on Wednesday because you and I will be drafting. Well, you won't be drafting, but we'll be hanging out on Friday. I'm very excited we're gonna find some place in Louisville to hang out and have dinner, right? On Friday night.
We're going to be on the property at Caesars at the steakhouse.
That's beautiful. Love it. That is fantastic.
I'm going to pick you up at the airport.
Yes, you are the man. That is going to be that's going to be a lot of fun. I think I fly in. So I'll get you the details. But yeah, early Friday afternoon, and we'll spend the whole day with Ferrell. It's going to be a lot of fun. We won't have a show for all the viewers who want to spend Friday night with Ferrell and Balky. But we'll be back next Wednesday as well for another special Wednesday edition of the High Stakes Fantasy Football Hour. Ferrell, I'll talk to you in a little bit less than 48 hours, my friend.
I'll do it while I'm seeing you in the same room with you, Paul.
Exactly. That is beautiful. Be good, man. See you in a couple of days.
Thank you, man.
Ferrell Elliott is the definitive commissioner of fantasy football. KFFSC.com. KFFSC.com is where to go. Remember, there is one spot open in that I Want Vegas draft that is coming up this Sunday, 3:15 Eastern time. Remember, you do not need to be present. You can draft this from the comfort of your own home. You never know. You might win a free trip to Las Vegas, a free entry into the FFPC Main Event where you can compete for $1 million grand prize. Tom Smith is in it. Tommy Herrin's in it. A lot of people, a lot of fun people that are going to be in it. So you want to check that out. One spot left, and it drafts on this Sunday. I want to thank Tommy Herrin, Ferrell Elliott, the FFPC, Rob Bryce, and of course, each and every one of you. As I said, it's our final Wednesday show. We're doing 3 straight Wednesday shows because I got a lot of stuff going on the weekends and I can't do Friday night shows. So next Wednesday at 10 p.m. Eastern time, we will be live again, Ferrell, myself, and another great guest. So check that out on the FFPC socials. In case you missed the Insider Access show last week on Thursday, Dan Fornick from Player Profiler joined me. He is an offensive line savant. We got into a lot of offensive line conversation and how it affects fantasy values for running backs, receivers, quarterbacks going forward. That was a lot of fun. And then we will be live tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Eastern time with 2 full hours with the Sports Gambling Podcast co-host Sean Green, who is a longtime player in the FFPC. He's going to give us his insight, not only on some Super Bowl props, but some early FFPC ADP as well. RotoViz High Stakes Lowdown returned for a Season 11 premiere last night. Season 11, unbelievable. We had Scott and Brad Thomas, a father and son duo that don't necessarily co-own a lot of teams together, but they do compete against each other a lot. Brad ended up winning the Never Too Early Best Ball Tournament, Never Too Early Best Ball Superflex Tournament in 2024. We had both those guys on last night. And I'll be honest with you, it's kind of a behemoth of a podcast. It's like 90 minutes because there's a lot of stuff we got into as far as ADP and value and so on and so forth. So check that out. It's on the RotoViz podcast feed as well as the FFPC socials as well. The RotoViz High Stakes Lowdown will go live again next March 3rd. So it's the first Tuesday of every month until the season starts again. And I think I have a guest co-host for that night, but I don't want to reveal it yet because we had to dot the I's and cross the T's yet on that. But I'll let you know once that's good to go. FFPC Dynasty and Empire Orphans available, myffpc.com. Enter for $77 all the way up to $5,000. A lot of those teams are discounted down to $1 right now. So you're basically getting a team for free that first year. MyFFPC.com is where to go for that. The Never Too Early Best Ball and Never Too Early Superflex Best Ball tournaments available for a $125 and $35 entry fees, respectively. In that Never Too Early tournament, a $40,000 grand prize is up for grabs, a $10,000 grand prize up for grabs in the Superflex version. Those tournaments will shut down the day of the NFL draft. So there's a lot of value. Swing your sticks in that one. Swing your swords, as the kids say, and draft for home runs, because that could end up being the difference between you winning, $1,000 or $40,000 in that competition. And then, of course, the FFPC Big Gorilla and the FFPC Baby Gorilla going on right now. MyFFPC.com, MyFFPC.com. The Big Gorilla, $350 to enter. You're eligible for $1 million grand prize. The 7 Bananas promo is live. The early Rampage tournament promo is live. Tommy Herrin, who we just had on the show tonight, ended up winning the early Rampage tournament last year, and that same team took 4th overall in the FFPC Big Gorilla. So for anybody who says, oh, you got to be drafting in August or September in order to win big, Tommy Herrin is living proof that you can draft right now and have a fantastic squad. Threaten that $1 million grand prize, or perhaps win it this year as well. MyFFPC.com, MyFFPC.com, the KFFSC 2026 Super Sunday I Want Vegas Division, 3 p.m., 3:15 p.m., beg your pardon, Eastern time on Sunday. 1 spot left for that. Register now, KFFSC.com. Remember to like this video, subscribe to the channel, comment on the video, share it with your friends, share it with your enemies, and get notified each and every time we go live, which will be tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Eastern. Myself and Sean Green from the Sports Gambling Podcast. Your Super Bowl weekend kinda starts right now.
This has been another episode of the High Stakes Fantasy Football Hour presented by MyFFPC.com. It was broadcast live and was watched around the world. Balky and Ferrell will be back next week with more analysis, more interviews, and more advice from guests much smarter than they are. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk with you again next week.
We had a post in the chat. I think it was from Tom Smith on YouTube tonight. And we're talking about the man cave that Tommy Herrin is building with his big payday in the Big Gorilla last year. But I'll say this. He said that he wants to have the Super Bowl party in 2027. Yeah, Tom Smith posted. I'll post it right now. At Tommy's house next year. The party will be in Kentucky for the Super Sunday drafts. That is where the Super Bowl party will be. You can hang out with Ferrell. You can hang out with me. Hopefully Tommy gets there next year. Steve G from Fantasy Sopranos, and a lot of the people that hang out and watch this show will be there as well. Cannot wait to draft a bunch of teams this coming weekend, and then watch the Seahawks and Patriots get it on in Super Bowl 60. That's going to be a lot of fun. Don't be a wish I had. Be there next year if you can't make it this year. It's going to be a lot of fun. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Enjoy the Super Bowl on Sunday, and we will talk with you again next Wednesday night.